Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Straight to the Apex podcast, our Formula One podcast. And I thought about singing The Boys Are Back in Town, but I decided against it. Instead, I'll just tell you, everybody's here. Everybody's present and correct. In some form or another, at least. So, there's races to discuss. I'm sure there's going to be talk about upcoming races that's been, you never know, they might even throw a quiz out there. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Drop any reviews you want to drop, and please, if you've got a Formula One fan in your life, send them this podcast. They will thank you for it. Right, let's get going. So here we go. This is CookieCast, Straight to the Apex.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hello everyone, as you can see, I'm back. Hope you've missed me. I know these guys have. Obviously, welcome back everyone. It's episode 21 of the Straight to the Apex podcast. Joining me as always, Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent, Mr. James Stainforth.
Apart from tonight, 2 minutes late to the meeting, but here I am.
Hey, someone's got to be late, James. Normally it's Tony.
I thought I'd make him feel better. That's my wedding present to you, mate.
That is awfully nice. Awfully nice. And fresh from his wedding that we all watched, he's got a new nickname, by the way, James. It's not T-Dog anymore. It's TMR. Tony Rawson. Sounds like a rapper name, doesn't it? So TMR is joining us.
TMR.
Konnichiwa.
Mr. Tony Rawson. How does it feel to be a married man on the podcast?
It feels absolutely fantastic. It feels amazing.
Beth's in the room. Hi, Beth.
Hi, Mrs. Rawson. I can't believe you did it, you absolute idiot. You could have turned around and walked away, but you married him, and now you've sent him to us. We don't even get a week off from him.
Done it, guys. Done it.
No,
it was amazing.
To the club, mate.
Yeah.
What a day. And thank you for joining me.
You're going to be different on this podcast. Feel different now you're a married man, more grown up.
Well, I don't know. After the race this weekend, I think I'm back to square one, to be honest. Dropping F-bombs and raging, and
I like it.
Just terrible.
So you changed in the build-up to the wedding to get Beth to believe that you're a different man, and now you're married. It's too fucking late.
Exactly.
Can we talk about the wedding?
Let's go off topic for a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You must.
One thing. It's probably the first and only ever wedding I've attended via Zoom, which is pretty cool.
I'm slightly nervous.
Go on, finish your point.
If people started talking, the camera would flip and you just see some random person you've never met before, probably laid in bed just watching it as well. And like I said on the day, didn't I? It must be like it was like watching Gogglebox. You'd see like Tony and Beth stood there doing the vows, then someone like, "Oh, don't she look lovely?" And all of a sudden it flipped to like Margaret and Dave, who just laid in bed watching it. The dog just there and everything else. And you're like, "Oh, fuck me, it's Gogglebox live." But yeah. Secondly, there was a lot of crotch shots in there, mate.
That's my point. I don't ever want to attend a Zoom wedding again, because I probably saw more of the groom's cock that night than the bride did. It's not an image I want.
Well, if you put it that way, well,
I don't know how to say it, but it was just So I don't know I don't know if it was filmed on a laptop or they had a camera there or what, Tony, but for like the first 10, 15 minutes, it was just you and obviously a couple of the staff from the hotel and everything. And you're talking to them. Bearing in mind, these guys are in Barbados and everything else, and you're just going, "Oh, I'm from Hull, mate. Have you heard from me?" Yes. Everyone around the world has heard of Hull.
They haven't.
Well done.
They
No.
haven't.
No.
Some people
Did they point that out to you?
Yes. They go,
Thought as much.
where's that? But luckily, the Reverend had lived in England for a number of years. So he knew where Hull was, but had never been.
Wow.
But I was doing about 3 or 4 things at one time, at a time where you only really want to be doing one thing, and that's concentrating on, is she coming down the beach or not? So when I get
I'm glad
there,
you said that. I thought you was more concentrating on grinding your crotch in front of the iPad and doing an audition. I thought it was your audition to OnlyFans. I'll be honest. I thought
there was a
was
couple of times where it was like just 2 minutes of Tony crotch and a little bit of belt buckle on the top, a little bit of your little Gucci belt buckle.
The GG, the big GG.
The G, yeah. But there was a lot of crotch. There were some very tight trousers.
they were tailor-made.
I know. And somewhere right near to where I work as well, which I said to you tonight, you should have said that he was there. I'd have popped over.
I know.
James had to make him a size bigger after what we witnessed.
Yeah. His pants, can you just let him out a bit?
Yeah. All I'll say is it's a good job you're not blessed down there, mate, because we'd have probably seen a lot more sausage. But the fact that, Anyway, enough about sausages and crotches and some people getting married. We're here to talk about Formula One.
Yeah.
On a race weekend where there wasn't much Formula One.
And the second race where there was probably quite a lot to go over and quite a lot to watch and everything else like that. And none of us really was able to do it. I think you was flying back home. Tony was still getting ready for his wedding. I can't remember where I was.
Was you traveling back home or you?
I was just on my way back as well. Yeah.
Yeah. We did really well as an F1 podcast. As you can, listeners and viewers will know, we are committed.
I did try. I was very, very drunk, and it was 1:00 in the morning, and I tried to tune in. Tuned in as it was raining, and the race had stopped. So I gave it 15 minutes, and was just like, nah, I'm knackered. I'm drunk as fuck. I need to go to bed. And literally, I woke, and then I just woke up at the end.
To be fair, it wasn't the best race when we were all away on holiday. You tune in, it gets cancelled for effectively suspended for 2 hours, and then they have a quick race at the end. So, I've kind of missed 2 races like that because my Sky didn't record all the Singapore one either. So,
what was all that about? Because I got back in, I thought, all right, brilliant, right, I'll put it on. It wasn't there.
Sky Q isn't that clever. I've found it's really annoying. So even when the program carries on, like the bits after the program, record the same bit that the original program's recording, so you get 2 bits of the same one, even though that original program carries on. Sky, sort your shit out, because I'm sick of it. I miss Ted's Notebook. I don't really care because Christine Horner was on probably a lot.
You hear that, Sky? Get it sorted, or only get one of them dodgy Amazon sticks and just watch it for free.
So, qualifying Japanese Grand Prix. I'll be honest. I quickly whizzed through it because again I was away. So I've got Verstappen was pole, 129.304. Leclerc second, 129.314. So obviously close. Sainz 129.361. Then Perez, Ocon, Hamilton, Alonso, Russell, Vettel, and Norris. Albon, Gasly, Magnussen, Stroll, Latifi knocked out in Q1. Ricciardo, Bottas, Tsunoda, Zhou, and Schumacher knocked out in Q2. Anything did I miss from qualifying? How was it?
Latifi did well.
Yeah, massive.
Well,
again.
yeah, to be fair to him, he had a penalty, didn't he, from the last race? So, like, he could, he thought, why waste a pole? Why waste a pole?
Exactly.
But what did he get? He got a new car.
No, he got in the car.
Oh, got in the car. Oh, right.
Oh, that's a good start.
He found it.
That's a
Good start. Good start.
Good start. I know Gazza locked up and he got a bit angry over the radio to Yuki. Supposedly Yuki got the new upgrades or an upgrade that Gazza didn't get, and he voiced his opinion. Both cars' brakes went up to scratch, supposedly. So, but I suppose he didn't really give a fuck because he's leaving anyway. So, but yeah, that was pretty much all the entertainment. There was the big near miss.
Yes.
In Q3.
I want to talk about this.
Max Verstappen on Lando Norris on Max Verstappen. How did you see it, Mark? Please let me know. I want to know your opinion on this.
Okay, so I watched it. I then heard the shitty excuse Max Verstappen give for doing it. So apparently there was a gentleman's agreement between all the drivers that you don't overtake within 2 corners. You're basically queuing up for a lap. Now, we know that they all play games in qualifying. We all know that there's no gentleman's agreement. I think Verstappen put his foot down, seeing Norris come in, he overcooked it, and I think, hand on hat, he should have been given a penalty. Because if that was the other way around, and Lando did that, Lando would have got a penalty. 100%.
I 100% agree.
You do?
I completely agree.
I thought with it being Lando, I didn't think you would be in agreement with me.
He was on a flying lap, and you want the best view to get the best opinion, in my opinion, and everyone's opinion, is being in the cockpit of Max's car. You can see him. You don't know if he has a little look in his mirror and says, "Oh, that McLaren's coming a bit quick. Best put the gas on." Overcooks it, flicks out, and Lando nearly wipes Lando out. But then he kind of covers him. Does he cover himself, or is it just a reaction?
By saying on the radio, unbelievable, mate.
Yeah.
And then saying, like, waving, apologising, saying sorry.
Yeah.
Like, if there was a gentleman's agreement.
That's what the every week. I didn't see him.
Well, yeah, it is. If there was a gentleman's agreement, why isn't Max pulling alongside Lando, giving him the bird or the finger, and then saying to him out the car, "Look, we've agreed to all stay in the line here, and you overtook me. That's your fault." But no, he went alongside him and apologised. What do you think, James?
Same as you guys, and at the same time, a gentleman's agreement doesn't mean shit. Rules are rules.
Yeah.
You can't do something like that. Get called up by the FIA to see the stewards and all that kind of stuff, and then when it's like going, "You're guilty," you can't turn around to them and go, "Oh, well, it's a gentleman's agreement, so I'd like to appeal." It doesn't work. Like, it's like, no, you're fucked up
massively. Like, but they're scared. It's almost like the FIA, and we'll come on to the race. It's almost like the FIA are scared of going against Max Verstappen and Red Bull.
Yep.
And I will hold my hands up. I've said it. I'm not Christian Horner's biggest fan, but I will doff my cap to the guy. He's built a fucking phenomenal team. But why are they getting away with everything? If any other driver had done that, he'd have been straight up to the stewards like Max was, and he would have got penalised. But Max got a slap on the wrist.
I completely agree.
The reprimand one, it was that kind of, don't do it again. That's it. Like, there's too many reprimands that it's just, you got to start penalising people.
They're scared of him. Is Josh going to bully them all? Or has he got them all by the scruff of the neck like a schoolyard bully? Why are they scared of him? It's really, really pissing me off at the minute.
I think I said it last week on the previous podcast. Max Verstappen and Red Bull just seem to be getting just too many times rub of the green, if you want to call it that. Like, there's too many, like, oh, that was a coincidence, like, and too many, like, conspiracy theories, like, there's too many of them this season, and I really, okay, I'm not really a fan of anybody, really, but it just feels like it's just too many times. But the biggest thing, and we may touch on this now or later, I think it's all going to come down to the breach in the FIA financial, what's it called?
Budget cap.
The budget cap.
That's going to be the final straw, I think, for a lot of people. And for me, it is.
I was about to say it, but I thought, let's see if we get on. I know we'll get onto it at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, something needs to fucking happen. If nothing happens on the back of that,
fuck you, F1.
Yeah. Have you read Martin Brundle's piece today?
No. But I've listened to him. I've listened to a segment of his Any Driven Monday on in there is a legend, isn't he?
Oh, he is. And he is. I normally listen to Martin Brundle because I think he's very unbiased. Yes. He's not got a favourite. He will slag Lewis Hamilton off if he needs to. He'll slag anybody off. So today he basically said Aston Martin have breached it but not gone over, I think.
Yeah.
And Red Bull have gone over but not massively. So he doesn't see a massive penalty.
Go on.
I was going to say, if that's the truth, because it has been made in the news the last 2 weeks. I think you guys spoke about it last week in my absence. Aston Martin had breached it and Red Bull had gone way over the budget. That's what kind of was made in the news and everything. Yeah. And I totally get Martin Brundle. They might have just gone over. There's so many grey areas where teams cover costs, this, that, and the other. It might be an accounting error, blah, 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 blah. If they have gone 1 penny over, they have broke the rule.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I don't care. If everyone's got that budget, if they've gone a penny over, it doesn't matter if there's an accounting error or if Christian Horner's put an extra receipt in for some hair dye. Like, it does not matter.
5% and under is a minor breach, and 5% of their budget, I think, is 7.5 million. Which 7.5 million is Martin Brundle quote is like a B spec car or quite a few upgrades. Now the numbers that have coming out, supposedly they'd smashed completely over that, but then supposedly after a review, then they'd only gone over like a few 100,000. Then I'm sure I've seen like they've gone over it maybe 1 million, 1.4, something like that. Like, this is right, guys. This is a Formula One. This is the top of racing on planet Earth. These are massive companies in automotive industries. They have the biggest lawyers, the biggest engineers. They have the best teams out there to basically make the fastest racing car ever within certain rules. How sad is it? Firstly, how can you just go over it when you've got these rules? And two, it's just, how can that be? Somebody has to be held accountable. And it can't just be a slap on the wrist. Exactly ties into what you said, Mark. It don't matter if it's a penny or it's 7 million. You've breached it.
Over's over.
It's over. So you deserve, and the ramifications of that, again, couple of upgrades or an upgrade or whatever, you might have got more points in that race. Therefore, you might have beaten somebody in that championship. And therefore, you may get more money for the following season. You get more time here. Like, you get advantage, which has carried on to this season, which will then carry on to the next season. So they need to set precedent here. They need to. If it was Mercedes, I would be, okay, a little bit disappointed. I favour the Mercedes team. They're going to get full-on fucks here. But because it's Red Bull, I'm like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? They're going to get a slap on the wrist?
and this is what pretty much everyone will be thinking as well. Yeah, I know when the rumours first started coming out, they were saying there was like 8% over the budget, and stuff like that. And then when the findings came out on Monday, they said it was a minor, which means it was less than 5%. So the options that the FIA have got as punishment, if you want to use that kind of word, is they can still deduct points from driver or constructor. They can reduce future caps. They can remove you from some parts of the competition.
The championship, yeah, they can remove you from the constructors' championship,
and they can reduce your time in the testing areas. Like the wind tunnels and stuff like that. So there's still a few things it can do, and for me as well, I think it should be a case of you pay back. You pay the fine and then you pay back what you went over. So if you went over by 4 million, you pay the fine plus 4 million, that kind of thing. But yeah, like you just said, Tony, whatever they've gone over by, that's had an impact a little bit on last season, more on this season, because a lot of last season they'll be putting work in to build this car. And obviously next season as well, it does impact 3 seasons in full. This one, I think, is the one it's going to impact the most. And yeah, they really need to do something. They can't just sit there and go, yeah, we've reprimanded them, we've just told them not to do it again. Because it's bullshit. And any of the other big clubs, your Mercedes, your Ferrari, or anything like that, they're going to sit there and think, oh, Christ, if you go over by just shy of 5% of the cap, and all you're going to get is a don't do it again, then
I agree.
I'm going to do it.
I was going to say I've got 4 issues with some of the points. Not you've said, but I've got 4 issues with some things you said. So 1, they can fine them and then reduce the budget for next year. What's the point? Because they've gone over the budget this year, so they'll only do it next year. It's not a deterrent. 2,
no.
You've just said Ferrari, AlphaTauri, whoever it is, Aston Martin, they've now gone and said, do you know what? If that's all they get next year, we're going to go over the budget. So it makes a mockery of having a budget. What is the point? Man City might as well go buy every single player in the world and then say, oh, well, don't matter.
Yeah.
3, I totally agree with what you just said, James. They should fine them and then fine them the money that they went over. And then they should take all them fines out of next year's budget. But again, what's the point? Because they'll just cheat again anyway.
And that's the thing, because you go over the cap or anything else like that, let's say it does have a massive benefit to you and you go on to win that season. For one thing, you've got all the prize money, all the glory and all that kind of stuff. But then you get more sponsorships. You get bigger sponsorships. It goes from just being I'm sponsored by Colgate to I'm sponsored by one of the largest bloody gin emporiums in the world or whatever. And you're just making more money. So you're like, oh, well, I don't care that I've just had to pay the FIA £4 million in fines. I've just got a £25 million sponsorship deal with these guys. So happy fucking days. So yeah, they've got to go on them and they've got to go at it. You can't bring in a rule. Because I know they're saying, oh, it's the first season. I don't care. You brought in the rule. It's been broken. Fucking discipline them.
This is the other side to this is, and I think it was, I can't remember which Grand Prix it was said at, because like I said, they're a bit merged into one for me. Someone said every team has had to make redundancies because of this budget. Now, I've been made redundant, and it's frigging awful. If you was made redundant from a team because of this budget, the budget that's now been made a mockery of by Red Bull, how would you feel?
Pissed.
Because I tell you what, you'd be angry, you'd be pissed. And what Red Bull have just gone, I don't give a shit. We've gone over, because I think Cristiano was arguing, well, we haven't made people redundant. We haven't done this. Yeah, because you've
I
had
was going to say, he said there was overstaffed.
Yeah.
He said they messed up with the furlough system and everything else.
That's what it's a bigger, deeper subject, isn't it? It's accountants, audits.
I think there's a lot more to it.
But it's all going to end up with lawyers. That's what it'll end up with, and it'll be, oh well, they'll just move money, and it'll just be the way it's said. And to be honest, I don't think anything will happen. I really don't.
I'm not disillusioned enough to know that Mercedes, Ferrari, every other team are hiding money.
Brundle said
all overspending.
Brundle said this: you get the rule book on any Driven Monday. A very good podcast. Have a listen after hours if you really want. It's not as good as ours. Anyway,
thank you.
You get the rules, and you have the rules, yeah? And then you read the rules again to see how you can get round the rules or push the rules as hard as you can. And that's what makes it the sport and the racing as good as it is. But this takes it to a different level, in my opinion.
I fully agree that if you can I won't say cheat, manipulate the rules, and every team does it, they manipulate the rules to gain an advantage. If on your stag do, Tony, I could have manipulated that rule to beat you, I would have done. But you beat me. You manipulated the rules. You must have done, because why else would you have beat me? I'm still not bitter about it at all. I'm still not. But every team, like I say, Mac probably overspent by maybe the same, maybe double, maybe a little bit less. But I bet they overspent, but they've hid it. I'm not saying that Mercedes are white. They're white. Ferrari know how to bend rules. They've done it for years.
But they'll all have top.
They'll all be doing it. They'll all be balancing the books in different ways. So, there's loads of little bloody caveats with this, the budget cap and everything. Like, we'll make room for inflation. We'll do this. We'll do that. Redundancies won't get counted and all this kind of stuff. And one of them is the top 3 highest paid employees in the club aren't accounted for. And I said, it's really interesting because one of the top 3 highest paid in any of the clubs is the team principal, who just by chance is also the ones that are voting for these rules to be brought in. Yeah. So now I know this is a Formula One podcast, but from a rugby league point of view, we all know that pretty much every rugby league club does the thing of, because they've only got the salary cap. They'll bring a player in from overseas, and on the books he's paid X amount, so that it stays within that salary cap. But his missus is working in the club shop, or doing whatever, and she's getting a ridiculous salary, but that's nothing to do with his.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what they'll be doing. So I think the likes of Christian Horner, Toto Wolff, any of them, on the books, they're earning, I don't know, 20, 30 million a year, whatever it is, but they're actually getting paid 10. Sorry.
Yeah. And you know what? Adam brought up a really good point. Again, going back to rugby league, the Melbourne Storm, one of the top teams in the NRL, which is the rugby league in Australia, probably the biggest league for rugby league. They got caught going over the cap, and at the time, their punishment was they got stripped of their titles, and I think was it one season they got no points. And we all when that came out, we were like, "Fucking hell, that's fucking heavy." That,
but it happened. It happened to Bradford.
Yeah, it did.
Salford as well. I think they both had to start a season on negative 12 points or something. So that was effectively you starting the season and you've lost 6 games.
Yeah. But you know what? It happened. They broke the rules. They won it. It got took off them. They had to start again, and now it's all said and done.
Yeah,
they should have, and this is what should happen. I think, in my opinion, and agreeing with both you guys, the FIA need to go hard on this, because if they don't go hard now, they're going to miss.
Point. Yeah,
They're going to.
I think what they'll do is they'll
integrity.
deduct. I think they'll just deduct points from the Constructors' Championship. I don't think they'll take anything from Max, and to a degree, I don't think they should. But they'll take it away from the Constructors so that they don't win the Constructors' Championship. So someone like Ferrari or
I think they should.
Christ,
I think they
Mercedes.
should. Take points off Max Verstappen on that 2021 last season, right?
Yeah.
So the title goes to Lewis, right? So
Yeah,
we can
it won't
all rejoice. Everyone can rejoice. All them fans can be absolutely pissed off and angry. But then next season, 2023, it's going to be a right tasty season.
I
Was that a fairy
agreed. I agreed with James last week when I listened to the podcast as a fan. I wasn't on it as a fan. I totally agreed with James. I was nodding my head. I don't want Lewis to win the title like that. Because, the type of guy he is, this will motivate him. And if the car's good next year, they can stick it. It'll motivate Mercedes. It'll motivate Ferrari. It'll motivate them all to stick it to the cheating gits that are red.
Toto and is it Bonotto? They weren't there this weekend, and there was like people saying memes about, I bet they're somewhere in a lab somewhere thinking of how they're going to beat Red Bull or next season and bouncing ideas off. And
Well, what every club does.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. Right. Obviously, we'll talk. Why don't we take a quick break? We'll talk about the race, and then some more Max Verstappen, Red Bull bullshit politics. Because obviously we've got some controversial things that happened in that race. But before we take a break, I'm going to do a shameless plug. Because while I was in America, I met an F1 fan, and he was excellent. He was really nice, really friendly, and he added our podcast then and there. I don't know his name. I didn't catch it. I hope you're listening. He works at the Hollywood Hero and Villains store in the Orlando Premium Outlets. So if you are listening, I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you. Shut up, Tony. And we'll see you in the second half.
He was dressed up as Barney.
This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome back to part number 2. What the hell are you wearing on your head? Is this
What
for
do you mean?
balance? What's that?
I've chosen and want to wear this hat, and I would also like to say that Christian Horner and every other member of the Red Bull company are very nice people and did not breach the budget cap. Is that right?
This is why they breached the budget cap.
What? Because the bought James a hat?
No, James was working for them all along, and he quoted £1 million for his salary.
I need you to explain, James. Why? Where? Oh, it's Daniel Ricciardo one. That's fine.
It's Daniel Ricciardo. We got it a couple of years ago. Well, sorry, Charlie got it a couple of years ago. I decided I like that more than mine, and I've been wearing it.
I thought it said
It is a nice hat.
I thought it said 33 on it. I was going to say, get off this podcast now. So welcome back, everyone. Part number 2, episode 21. James Stainforth in his usual spot, back in his usual spot. Me, survived Hurricane Ian, back in my usual spot. Tony, where are you? Because we can't decide.
I'm still in the beautiful island that is Barbados.
So it is Barbados, right?
Barbados.
We were just saying, I've been saying Barbados for the last 2 weeks on this podcast, and every time I've said it, I'm like, oh, is it the Bahamas?
No,
Yes.
I can't remember. I think you're actually in Sheffield.
I'm
I think you're just
definitely
lying
not.
to us. I think you're in Sheffield. The whole wedding was staged, just like the moon landing. And you and Beth are just going to Tanatics every day just to kind of colour up a little bit.
How damn you. Damn you.
You've got
You even
another
said
bit.
that the Reverend was in England.
Yeah.
I think he lived in Sheffield.
You've also got another fake background on. You showed us that beautiful sunshine. That was fake. That hotel room, Sheffield. Definitely Sheffield.
Yeah, I mean, who wears a three-piece suit in Barbados? We all know
Only
it's cold
idiots.
in Sheffield.
Only idiots. So
stylish idiots, by the way.
Not in.
Mate, we've seen the Yeezys. That's not style.
Yeah, that is not. I could have bought some fake ones in Florida.
Don't you mean real ones, Mark?
No, they were fake. Because they look better than
You
yours.
still chose not to buy them.
Yeah, and I still chose not to. I nearly bought some Crocs instead because they were better.
Would rather wear Primark's Greg's range.
Yes, I would head to toe in Greg's than them bloody trainers he wears. So, the race. I will give you the order. I will give you my very limited information. It was a very negative first half of the show, everyone, but I do think it's deserved. People may think we're anti-Red Bull. They'll be right. But they bring it on themselves. They bring it on themselves. So, the Japanese race, I didn't see part 1, which was 2 laps. I haven't seen part 2. But the final top 10 was Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc, Ocon, Hamilton, Vettel, Alonso, Russell, Latifi. Latifi in 9th. What have I missed? And Norris 10th.
It was just a case of Latifi just didn't have enough time to crash.
Do you know what? He had a 2-hour rest between his 2 laps at the beginning, and then there weren't enough laps in the second half of the race, and he got confused, bless him, and he thought, actually, I'll drive. Oh, I can actually finish 9th when it's a short race like this. He probably crashed on the outlap after the race had finished. We probably didn't see that. So, from my limited knowledge of the race, which I will be watching on Friday, I'm probably getting very angry and shouty like Tony Rawson does. Mulchinot Rawson, beg your pardon. Leclerc received a 5-second penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage in a fight with Perez, which basically handed the title to a very shocked Max Verstappen. This was because the rules state, and I have it written down because it confused the hell out of me.
Section 57, or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah,
so maximum points are given, even though half points should have been given, as only 50 to 75% of the race was done. So if half points had been given, like the rules apparently state, then Max wouldn't have won the title. But for some reason, the FIA, sponsored by Red Bull, give full penalty point, maximum points of the race, and Max ended up winning and apparently got told halfway through an interview with Johnny Herbert.
Yeah, supposedly the race wasn't suspended. So
no, right? Okay.
This is how it went when I watched it. They did 2 laps. Then they suspended it. Then they red flagged it. So then in between this, they then started. Sky was then bringing out all this shit about if it's suspended, this is how they calculate the points depending on how many laps. For example, the percentage of the race that's been completed if the race gets suspended. So, but the race didn't get suspended. They had a race, even though it was a very feeble race. They still raced. Okay. So then they were awarded the points. But when it rained at the start, all this time for this conversation to tee up, he can't win it, he can win it. Suddenly, that's what led to the end of the race. Like, has he won it? Has he not won it? Because supposedly Radio 5 Live, they really kicked off and was like, I haven't won it. Like, this is a shambles. Like, what's going on? We don't know anything. And even when they announced that he'd won it, they were still kicking off on Radio 5 Live saying, oh, no, they've got it wrong. I've got this wrong. This is all wrong. But as a fan, at the end, trying to find out if he has or not, I mean, it was a shambles. Even he didn't know if he'd won it or not. It was an absolute shambles. It was embarrassing. I mean, what a way to go.
So we've
How was the race not suspended? I don't get that.
Yeah, it basically stopped after 2 laps because Sainz crashed and there was various other incidents and it was too dangerous. So that is suspending the race.
Yeah.
Red flag suspended the race. They had a 3-hour window and then they have 2 hours to complete that race, and it was about another hour or so, wasn't it? That they were waiting for a weather window.
But they were still racing, and the checkered flag came out because the 3 hours ended.
Yes.
So they still had a race. If it was red flagged and the 3 hours finished, then they would have had to go to the differing points.
But they didn't do 50.
They've done that in the past.
50. I know they changed the rules this year after the fast that was Spa last year, because obviously that was an even bigger fast with a rain. I thought because it was between 50 and 75% of the race distance, half points should be awarded. If it's over 75, they give full points. Yeah. I don't get where this other grey area has come out in their rules that they've managed to give Max effectively the championship.
Oh yeah, and it was the Honda's home track as well. That's
exactly,
interesting, isn't it?
So before we rant about this, because we will, Max, when it restarted, give him his due. Drying track, he finished clear of Leclerc by 25 seconds. Not a problem with that. The guy is awesome. He's a great driver. Not got a problem with that. If you can drive like that and be 25 seconds clear of the rest of the field, you're in a class of
I mean, Mark, when it started, he went round the outside of Leclerc for about the first 3 corners. And led the race. And I was like,
you can't deny it. I'm not
Great.
denying the kid is talented and he deserves 2 championships. The way he's got them is wrong, both of them. But it was an absolute shit show from the FIA because I think the big concern was Gasly. Received a 20-second penalty for speeding under red flag. Yet he nearly hit a recovery truck, which is 8 years since Jules Bianchi died under exactly the same conditions, under exactly the same circumstances, exactly the same track.
I wanted to ask about that because we already said earlier, I haven't seen the race. I've seen highlights, but that's never covered in any of the highlights of anything. But I've seen the posts on the social media sites where, the likes of Perez and everyone else are making comments of they need to stop bringing cranes out on the track. This is how Jules died.
Yes, exactly.
I was sat there and I was like, what the hell has gone on?
They've not learned the lesson
in the highlights.
So they didn't put it in the highlights at all?
No, not that I've seen.
They haven't learned their lesson because it was almost like a carbon copy.
Yeah, it was, literally.
And all right, Gasly was speeding, but they said Jules Bianchi was, didn't they? They kind of tried to pin the blame on him. But in them conditions where you've suspended, quotation marks, a race, because apparently they didn't, why the hell is a recovery truck on the track?
On the track. Why is there a vehicle on that track when there's cars racing? Regardless of what flag it is. Why are they, and what weather it is, what flag it is.
Yeah.
Again, like I've said, these cars can travel very, very quickly.
And they'll go under a digger.
Yeah, even if they were driving at a reduced speed, which is normally 40%.
Yeah.
That's 40% of 200 kilometres an hour.
I know.
But if you watch the replay, you can't even see. The scary thing is,
you can't see shit.
You can't, no.
What I saw in the highlights was Gasly driving when the advertising board was on his front. And that was earlier on. And the visibility was that poor with the weather He was even saying there's something on the front, but I can't see what it is.
Yeah. It was after. It was later on. He's literally. You can see there. It goes from like it's got the sign. Is it a VSC or it's got the sign say, and then it flashes red in the distance, and he's still speeding, and then it flashes red again, red again, red again, but it's actually already gone past the truck that was on the track. So only when it slows it down, the replay, and it on my replay on my video, it actually showed it circled where it was, and you're like, fucking hell! Like if he'd have run wide, he'd be dead, and he wouldn't have been dead. He would have killed a couple of other people as well.
So cast your mind back to last weekend, Singapore. There was a replay when I watched it. It was someone who went into the barrier front wing. Was it Sonoda?
Sonoda.
And there was 2 marshals on the track collecting that front wing under a green flag conditioned track. And Brundle and Crofty at the time said, I hope to God that was a replay.
Yes.
It wasn't under the green like we thought it was under yellow. But on none of them replays I've seen of it, can you see yellow panels flashing in the background? It all looks green. What are they doing? What are they doing? I honestly think since Charlie Whiting died, the FIA has been an absolute shit show. You know, we can blame Michael Massey as well. Sorry, Jim. We can blame Michael Massey, but it's the whole organisation just seems to have fell apart.
I've said it a few times on this podcast now, and it's nearly always around the decision on do we bring out the safety car or not, where something happens, and it's pretty much always been a case of a car's broken down smack in the middle of the track, and then the FIA, you know, they take another 3 laps before they're like, oh yeah, maybe we should get the safety car out. And it should be an instant decision. Mate, there's a car in the middle of that track, right?
Yeah.
Safety car straight away. Get the car slowed down. That should be it. Not just like all right, let me think about it. 2 laps go by. Let's go virtual safety car. Another lap goes by. You know what? Maybe an actual safety car would be better here. It should just be, boom, there you go. And the visibility on that track was piss poor.
Yeah.
Should that really have gone ahead? I don't know.
Brundle said it again on there. He said they should have forced them to go on to wets as well when they restarted.
Yeah,
because
I thought they did when it fully restarted. I thought they had to go on wet.
No, I think they had the option, and a few tried to cheekily push it on inters. They should have,
trying to get the inters on,
or some tried to put the inters on almost immediately when they should have just said no. Full wets, force everyone's on a wet. You know, like they do with the DRS. DRS isn't open until whenever.
Yeah, 2 laps after it's declared a dry race.
Yeah. FIA, embarrassing.
I'm going to say something now that it's just coming to my mind. You might disagree. I think the virtual safety car is the worst idea they've ever had, because I think it now throws doubt whether they throw a safety car out or not. And I think that couple of seconds of doubt now, we'll put the VSC out. Or actually, should we do a safety car? I think that doubt, whereas before it was safety car, done. Now you've got a decision to make where it's a VSC, which again is a bit of a waste of space after watching Singapore, and they were all jockeying and chasing each other, and Max went by someone, didn't he, and didn't get penalised. But I honestly think that now they've got a decision to make, it's going to cost someone's life or a serious accident. Get rid of it and just have safety car or not, or red flag.
I disagree, Mark. I don't know. I think you're maybe slight overreaction to the race and what's happened previously. I think the VSC is needed because it neutralises the race. Something's happened, VSC. Oh shit, something's happened. It's like the precursor to something serious, a safety car or red flag. I think the VSC is just that quick, everyone needs to slow down.
But it doesn't neutralise the race. If you watch Singapore, and they've done it on other tracks, they cheat the system again. Lewis was absolutely bang up Sance's ass and pushing him and trying that. They shouldn't have. That's not neutralising the race. They're still racing.
But I think
I actually agree with both of you. As weird as that sounds, believe it.
Okay.
I get your points, Mark. I do, because it does have that air of doubt in there. Like, well, what do we do? But I agree with Tony of it. You know, it does have its benefits. I mean, if you're looking at it from a carbon neutral point of view, it's one less car on the track. That's not the fucking reason for the virtual safety car. But what they should, I think they should keep the virtual safety car, but they should just make it nice and simple. It's just a case of, look, if there's debris on the track that needs picking up by stewards, virtual safety car. Everyone's reduced their speed by 40%. That's fine. If it's a car on the track, as in, you know, life's at risk and that kind of stuff.
Latifi pulling up Abu Dhabi 2021. Yeah.
Oh, mate! As soon as Latifi pulls off, you know, when the lights go out and you know Latifi, you know, releases the clutch, that's it, safety car. But yeah, if it's a case of getting cars off the track and stuff like that, then yeah, maybe that should be the same. It should just be a kind of. They shouldn't make it so complicated. Really.
Here's another idea then.
It's not going to give up.
Virtual safety car. But when the VSC gets called, the pit limiter comes on. So they are all at the same speed and they can't go any faster.
You see, that would be good because the thing with the virtual safety car is it's just a case of you reduce your speed by X%. I said what the percentage was in the past. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head right now. But it's still effectively racing conditions.
That's what I mean. Neutralises the race. Don't stop it. It just says, right, everyone be aware, slow down. But I agree with what saying.
They're too busy
people take advantage of it.
Yeah.
People take advantage of it. But logistically, Mark, you can't put a safety car on every time. You can't suddenly pull the safety car out, everybody fucking slows down, shuffles.
No. And at the same time, the safety car gets taken advantage of as well. Whoever's in pole, that you know, the safety car goes in, but the race doesn't start until the guy sitting in pole thinks, yeah, I'm going to go now.
To be honest,
they
Mark,
can go and they can wait for that perfect moment, you know, whether it's just after a turn or just before, and they're like, right, I'm going to slow right down, concertina the entire pack, and now I'm flying off. So both the VSC and the actual safety car, it's yeah, they've both got the pros and cons, and they both can get manipulated and taken advantage of. I don't think it's a case that anyone could ever win.
No.
To be honest, would you have these thoughts, Mark and James, or anybody, if the FIA had gone harder on people for abusing the VSC? Would you still have these thoughts?
No,
would you be
no. If the police did and said, right, you're in the piss now, because a double wave yellow on the track means slow down, be prepared to stop. And let's be honest, none of them are doing a speed where they can stop because they're all pushing it. If that's the case, then you 100%, Tony, I would agree with the virtual safety car if they policed it and said, right, you gained half a second on him, there's a penalty. Right, you were racing him and trying to get an advantage and wait for the panel to turn green and get a jump on him, there's a penalty. Because
no one would take
safety.
No one would take the piss then, would they?
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. You get a black and white flag.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Singapore again, I go back to it. Perez got a penalty for dropping back. Dropping back from the safety car, like they all do it. You know, Perez was telling the car to quicker. I get that they've got to get the tyres warmed up. That was a bit of a kind of a minor, like, you know what I mean? It was a minor rule that he broke. If he's backed off the safety car, I've not got a problem with that. But yeah, I totally agree with that. I think actually, if they policed it more, the virtual safety car would probably mean more. But just maybe put the pit limiter on, because they'd all be doing 50 mile an hour, and it will be like a ski electric track, because none of them could go faster or gain an advantage. You're going 50.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All this earliest time of arrival bullshit that they're currently doing isn't working. To change it, and like I say, it might then work because you can't bring the safety car out every time. Yeah, you're right.
I just think it was a near miss, and that should not. We shouldn't even be having this conversation. But that is what is pissing me off about this season. And we've on this podcast today, we've spoke more about the FIA and how shit they are than the actual racing, the actual F1. Why F1 is F1? The actual racing.
Well, I'm more shocked because you've been a married man for 48 hours or 72 hours now, and you've come up with some really good points. It's changed you. I don't like this, Tony. You're clever. You're smart.
His ring comes from Mordor.
You watch Formula One. I don't like it. Go back to, I fell asleep.
In fairness, I did see a post on Instagram of him laying out on the beach reading his 2022 F1 for Dummies book.
I know.
You've been swatting up, haven't you?
He has.
I have. Now I had the opportunity from such a hard working life that I live back at home. I've managed to find some time in my hectic schedule.
If anyone's listening to this, that was the biggest load of bullshit he's ever said on this podcast. Because he has not got a hard-working life. Let us tell you that right now. His wife literally does everything for him. He's like a spoiled
no, bullshit. That's.
Mate, she basically feeds you big aeroplanes and choo-choo trains. So let's not pretend that you do anything for yourself.
I don't want to get.
If you want man nappies, you'd probably have to change that for you too.
Wow. Predictions, anybody, or should we carry on talking shit about the race?
Yes, let's talk predictions.
Well, I've just got a couple of more things. No, I haven't actually. That was it.
First of all,
yeah,
you did a plug for a guy in America that you met for all of 2 minutes, making this big deal about him. Yeah. Really nice guy, works at this place, blah, 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 blah. And then you go, but I don't know his name.
No, I didn't take his name. We just talked Formula One.
Second time, you still haven't put the plug in for the company that we're doing this for. So I'll do it for you, Mark. You know, we would like to just say thank you to Andy at Cookie Cast. You know,
sorry, Andy.
Me and Tony love you, mate. Numbnuts there, whether he does or not, I don't know.
Andy knows. Andy knows. I apologise, Andy.
And please. Andy, if you can actually give this particular episode a different title, just call it Horner's Corner, because let's face it, just pretty much from pressing record, we instigated Horner's Corner and we just bitched and moaned about him.
I mean, there wasn't much of a race, to be fair, so we had to fill it with something. Yeah, I apologise. Please listen to the other podcasts on Cookie Cast. We have a wrestling one, the beer one, an NFL one, a football one. I'll plug that more because I've also shamelessly plugged a person I met in America that may or may not listen to this podcast. Never mind.
Scumbag.
Listen to the NFL one as well, mate. Listen to the NFL one as well, buddy.
Elmer's not here now, so he's got a fucking...
Banning the dinosaur, mate. And it's a small world 7 times. Right, quick driver's standings then. So Max Verstappen has won the title with 366 points. Perez is now second, 253. Leclerc, 252. Russell, 207. Sainz, 202. And Hamilton, 180. Next race is United States on the 23rd of October, 8 p.m. UK time. 56-lap race, 3.4 miles, 20 corners. I mean, I think you talked about the driver market last week. Did you?
I did, but there's been some movement, hasn't there?
Yeah. Let's quickly do that, and then we'll talk predictions.
Now, I think we're all... Where are we in the driver's market? I think we're all about there, except for a couple of teams, aren't we?
So Gasly's gone to Alpine. De Vries has gone to AlphaTauri. And Latifi's gone from Williams, but they haven't got a replacement yet. I think Haas and Williams are the only 2 teams out there that have got driver spare.
Well, I don't really know any rumours. It's kind of gone a bit quiet.
Only
So
thing
we'll
I've
have to
heard
see.
this week about the whole thing really is Ricardo is actually now turning around going, let's face it, I ain't got to drive for next year.
Yeah, which I am
That's
gutted
sad.
about. I am gutted about.
That's
Well, we
sad.
kind of touched on it, didn't we? Saying, we all kind of think he's just going to take a year out and, well, looks like you are now, mate.
Yeah. So,
Sad.
so
I
do
can
you
see him
want to
presenting.
Do you want to speak predictions then? Because I haven't actually got you two guys down for Japan. I didn't know what yours was. I knew mine was Max
I'll tell you,
Hamilton, Leclerc. So what did you predict?
I'll come to me shortly.
Okay.
So,
Tony,
yeah,
what did you
I'll tell you, man.
Go on, then.
yeah, go for it.
I had Max, Leclerc, and Perez, and they did cross the finish line like that. And to be honest, for about 99% of the race, it was that. However, for some reason, he cut the chicane, and I'll never know why. And that'll be one of the things that I'll take to my grave, where I'll still be thinking it, laid in a hospital bed somewhere, thinking, why the fuck did he cut that corner?
Have you added him to the list? So now it's like
Um,
Leclerc, Norris, and Woody, and you just hit the three of them.
Oh, yeah,
100%.
so-
Ferrari now are dead to me. Ferrari. I'm not a fan. Fuck them.
Excellent.
Fuck Ferrari. Fuck them all. Fuck them. You all that prestige. Thank you. I got it in again.
Gone.
Gone. I'm sick. I'm sick of waiting for you to do well. And every time, every weekend, you just fuck it up. Every weekend. And I'm just sick of it now.
I dare ask what James got. I dare ask what.
I was going to say, can we talk about my predictions, please?
Is it by any chance Max Perez Leclerc?
Yeah, a little bit.
Is it? Fucking.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh God! Do you know what? I was so.
No,
That
I
says
got
it. That
6
says it
points.
all.
I got the
That
6
says it
points,
all.
I was so
and
pleased
I
last
get the
week.
bonus point.
I was so pleased last week that you were last and me and Tony were joint first. Now it's literally swapped around, hasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I've gone back to first. Mark, you're in second, and Tony. Beth's got a lot of work if she wants to keep that little bit of a wedding vow that she put in there of I promise to try and prevent the shoey.
I know. I can't
I thought
believe it.
so many little plugs to the podcast in that vow, them vows that she did was fucking awesome. Even Adam made that prediction. Max Perez Leclerc. We both said Perez's sole purpose in life for that race is keeping Leclerc off.
So what?
He didn't though, did he? He didn't.
No,
He
it
didn't.
didn't.
Well, he
It was-
applied enough
it was
pressure
a
for
mistake
Leclerc
by a
to have to
Ferrari
go off the
driver.
track to. He applied enough pressure for a Ferrari driver to have to come off the track for their own advantage and get a
There was
5-second
no pressure.
penalty.
So
Watch
what?
them replays. There was no pressure. He
So
literally
what's-
he sustained the pressure, and then for some reason on the last chicane he went straight on. Why?
5-second penalty.
So what's the scores, James? After 18 rounds, give us them again.
So I am now back in first place with 43 points.
That's
Mark, you're in
bullshit.
second with.
I don't want to do it anymore. I'm sure it.
Carry on,
Really?
James.
How many times has it flipped? How many times have I gone bottom?
Exactly.
Mark's in second place with 41 points. Tony, you're in last with 40 points. There's still not much in it.
No,
Bullshit.
No.
I should be winning. I should be winning by a mile right now.
but you're not.
And you should
No,
all be eating my shit.
I should have
right
won
now.
karting, but I didn't. Life shit. So,
Yeah, and everyone in Leeds knows about it.
I didn't eat for a week. That's how I pushed the
Exactly.
limit.
So, USA. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Fuck it.
Go on.
I'm last
I'm
time.
trying to remember what the rules were.
As he's a married man, my gift to him is he can go first.
Mm.
Fuck. Thank you for that gift.
Not a
Silent.
problem, mate. Not a problem,
Beautiful.
TMR.
So heartfelt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Max.
Beth's telling you now, isn't she?
She's given me a prediction, but if I choose to listen to it, it's up to me.
No, you're married now, mate. You will listen to your wife.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
Cho- Choice is no longer a thing.
No, you signed that away 48 hours ago. You've had it.
Yeah.
You sure? You wouldn't go with... You wouldn't? You sure you won't go with him? No. I've got first and third. It's just second.
So who you got third?
I've got Lewis Hamilton third.
Okay.
Ooh.
So come on then. Who's second?
You must be toing and throwing.
Two in the front.
Come on.
I'm going to go with... don't know. Sainz.
Interesting.
Mm.
James?
Beth, I've got a gamble now. I'm sorry. We've got a gamble on last.
Do you want me to go or you can go, James?
Well, these
This
aren't
might-
best predictions.
This might be
Okay.
the fastest marriage
I've
ever.
got Max
Yep.
for the win. I've got Perez in second.
Okay.
Similar kind of reason as well. I think they're going to want Perez again to make sure Max gets the win, just so that he can look at breaking another record for the most wins in a season. But I've also got Hamilton as third. What are you giggling at, Tony?
That was Beth's prediction.
Oh, really?
And now my red face is as red as a Ferrari supporter.
Okay.
Go on, Mark.
So, I had some predictions and changed them just before I come on the podcast. So, I had down Max to
I
win.
want both, man.
You want both?
I want the ones you're going with and the ones you had.
Right, so the ones I had was Max to win, Hamilton second, and Perez third. But
Okay.
then I had a bit of a Red Bull strop, and I think that they will want first and second in the drivers. So I think Perez will win.
Perez? You
Ooh.
think Perez is going to win?
Yeah, I think Perez will win because he's only a point in front of Leclerc, so they'll want him to win.
With Mexico next week?
Yeah.
Week after,
yeah.
sorry.
Max second. And Hamilton third.
Oh, wow.
That's some bold-ass predictions there.
So I mixed it up. I kept the same three drivers, just in a different order.
Just a little.
Yeah, little tweak, because I do think that Mr. Horner and Mr. Mattershitz and all the lovely people at Red Bull, now they've got the title, they will want maximum team points now to win the Constructors, and they'll want Perez second.
So I tell you, I've got a feeling. There's a driver who I've got a feeling is going to be.
I got a
somewhere there.
feeling. Go on.
Lando Norris. I don't know why. I just feel like he's going to be around there.
Is that what Beth said?
No, she said.
Is that what your
I
book
won't.
said? Is that what your book
I won't
said?
repeat. I won't repeat what she said. Well, it is. That
Hang
could
on.
be the podium.
Was
guys.
that Latifi on the cover?
No.
No, we haven't made it yet. Oh, we have. I mean, quickly, Latifi will no longer be driving for Williams. It's a bit of a bombshell. I don't think we've mentioned it.
Huh? What? Huh?
Whatever.
No, he's gone after this season. They're not renewing his contract. He's done.
Oh,
Oh,
we knew that. We knew that.
Oh,
yeah, we
right.
knew that.
Oh, I
we
didn't.
knew
I
that.
meant, as in, he's not racing
Again,
no
yeah,
more.
no.
That was it.
So you know what, Latifi?
Then we should have completely done a completely different episode.
No, it's not.
Off
that
to Ruby you go.
On that bombshell that wasn't a bombshell, thank you both for joining me. Again, congratulations to Tony. He took time out from his honeymoon to join us. Thank you again to James, my wingman. I couldn't do it without him because otherwise I'd have to put up with that twat in the top left-hand corner all by myself. And we know I'll lose my shit. And on that lovely scenery, thanks for joining us and see you again next week. Bye,
See you soon,
everyone.
guys.
Bye.
So there you go, what do you think of that? Another one done, another one gone. Great to see everybody back. Great to see you guys tuning in, checking out the Formula One podcast. Whether you're listening, whether you're watching, whichever way you get it, make sure you are subscribed so that you get to find out when there's more fantastic Formula One podcasts coming your way. Like, share, comment, give it to a friend, give it to a neighbour, give it to somebody you know that loves Formula One. There's also the website, it's thecookiecast.com. There you can check out our social media links, and there's an email button for you to get in touch with us, with these guys. Let them know how much you love the podcast. Let them know who your favourite team is. Anything. It's all good. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
How awesome is that? So awesome. You gotta like, share and subscribe.